you viewers once again for attending my digital class. Stay home and stay safe. Maintain the lockdown and study hard for the forthcoming HS exam. Now today we'll discuss 3 questions. A parable written by the Russian stalwart Leo Tolstoy who was born in 1828 and died in 1910. A pretty long life. He largely influenced Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King and others. His simplicity and his philosophical ideas are very important. During 1887, he suffered anhedonism, a disease in which the sufferer loses interest in all the pleasures of life. He tries to seek the meaning of life, the significance of it, and seeks an answer to his existence. And that's why Tolstoy was an omnivorous reader. So he read many books of Indian origins, Buddhist origins, European and Greek, to enhance his mind, to tide over the crisis. These 3 questions, it's a parable, which is a didactic story with a clear moral message. And it is different from a parable because in it the characters used are all human, while in a fable characters are birds and beasts and inanimate objects. In class 10 you read the poem Fable written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, in which you got the glimpse of it. Tolstoy actually was impressed with the simplicity and wisdom of the parables. And as a creative storyteller, he adopted this age-old form to convey his deeper thoughts on life's enigmas and meanings. This format he used creatively to solve or to seek for the enigmas of life. The 3 question is taken from his collective stories, When Men Live By and Other Tales, which was published in 1885. This present story has a tone of gospel, biblical overtone. And this story but there is no attempt of imposing any lesson on the mind of the reader. The story is very simple wisdom in simple language. Though there are many improbable situations and improbabilities on which controversy centered around, but the story has a special significance. Now, I will start the story. It once occurred to a certain Tsar. You know the Tsar? Tsar is the Tsar is called the king of the Russia. King of Russia is called the Tsar. And Tsarina is the queen of Russia. It occurred to a certain Tsar that if he always knew the right time to begin everything, it's very difficult to know when to begin or what is the right time for the beginning of an action. It's very difficult. People are fond of almanac and ponjikas and others, or they took advice from the gurus or the priests to begin an action, to start a business, and blah blah blah. So this thing also occurred in the mind of the king or the Tsar. If he knew who were the right people to listen to, if he knew who are the right people to listen to, it's very although it looks easy, it's also very difficult. We don't know with whom we make our friendship or whom to avoid. It's very difficult. And whom to avoid. And above all, if he always knew what was the most important thing to do, the most important thing in life. Three important things here. Three questions. Questions surrounding regarding time, fellow human beings, and human activity. Time, fellow human being, and human activity. These are the three central issues on which the story three questions pivot around, or pivot around, or hinge upon. And this thought having occurred to him, he had it proclaimed throughout the kingdom, so that he would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what was the right term for every action, and who were the most necessary people, and how he might know what was the most important thing to do. So this was one of the whims of the king. Although whims are very relevant for any wise person, especially a person who heads a kingdom. So what is the right time for every action? Who is the right person? Who is not the right person? And how he might know what was the most important time. What was the most important time? So he declared that he would reward if anyone could answer his queries correctly. This was a popular custom at the time, that if the king had any doubts or questions and anyone came to clear it, he was definitely rewarded. And learned men came to the Tsar, but they all answered his questions differently. This is the problem of the learned men. Because the learned men don't agree with each other. It is the eternal problem of the learned men, that in maximum cases learned men like to differ. They think that they knew better. They know better than others, as a result of which controversy emanates. And the problem remains unresolved. Here also the same thing happens. Learned men came and they all answered the questions, but the answers are different. It's very difficult to have a consistent idea from all the answers. The Tsar is in a tizzy. What to do? Which answer he should accept? Which answers he should accept? proceed further. So it's a dilemma for him. He's in a precarious predicament. In reply to the first question, some said that to know the right time for every action, one must drop in advance a table of days, months and years, and must live strictly according to it. In reply to his first question, one answered, or learned man, said that to know the right time, the king must have a calendar or a table of days, and he should think in advance or beforehand. What he would do in the next year or in the next few months, he needs some plan, date-wise, routine-wise. He needs some plan and programs, and must follow it strictly to fulfill his aim or objectives. Only thus, said they, could everything be done at its proper. If the king follows it strictly, then his objective, that is, who is the right objective to begin every action in proper time, and other problems will be solved. If he follows the dictums or the advices of this scholar. Now it's very difficult for the Tsar to follow in toto all these things, because most of the learned men differ, and difference of opinion creates confusion rather than consistency, and this results in this inevitably gives rise to doubts and suspicions in the mind of the Tsar as to the future course of his action. So he did not accept the answers of any. We'll discuss in the next day. On the next day, what other answers are given by the other scholars or other learned men to assist him in his to tide over the crisis the Tsar faced. Today, we call it a day, but before calling it a day, I will show you the board in which some important meanings are written. See the boards at first. Occurred means came to mind, moniasa. Avoid means evade. Proclaimed, declared. Reward, prize. Draw, prepare, in advance, beforehand. So, I give you this initial, I only studied the initial 3 sections or 3 paras for these 4 paras for today's lesson. In the next session, we'll discuss the story in detail. Thank you for being with me. Please follow the classes regularly. Don't miss, because it is for you that I am taking the classes. So if you don't follow it because of your data expenditure of data and other, you will have to face the music during the exam, because the school is closed, and you need to continue with the practice, with the study that a teacher is trying hard at his home and try to reach to each and every student through this medium. So why don't you accept it? Because the situation is different. This is the go of the day. You must accept it cordially. Otherwise, you will have to face the problem. in the long run. Thank you for being here.